used. It didn't look like there was any evidence of use, but anyway, I would really like to turn this into a pond. And the hard part's already done, like the hole has been dug. I don't want it to be shaped like a perfect square, so what I might do is like etch out like little like more shallow areas right here and maybe over there, just to give it more of like a round shape. But yeah, that's really cool that that's already there. This will be the future pond, and it'll be right next to the garden, which is gonna go like in this whole area. Ew. So the garden beds that I have, it's in pieces currently, but I have these 17-inch tall raised garden beds. And with it being modular, you can sort of decide what shape and size you want these to be, because it's all in small pieces like this. So I think I'm gonna go for the long, skinny variety here, because I don't know, I liked the way that that was in my old garden. It was nice to be able to plant stuff like on one end and then on the other and have them be completely different and like kind of separate, getting separate treatment and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is line up the corrugated pieces and just bolt them together. Basically just going to be a lot of that, so you can enjoy a little time lapse of putting this together. So this is one of the possible locations for the garden. And what makes all of this difficult is I'm having to also consider filming. And the reason that I like this is because I will never have to worry about getting something in the background while I'm filming. Just logistically, that's gonna make my life a lot easier. I'm not gonna have to blur things. I'm just not gonna have to be thinking about that. But it doesn't get full sun until about halfway through the day, because my house will block all of the morning light, but it will get some pretty intense afternoon light. So I don't know if that would make up for it. I feel like morning light is more favorable because it's not as hot. But regardless, I did have them lined up right here as we were building them, and I just really loved the way that it looked. And I also liked the idea of being able to like look out my kitchen window and see them. But again, with the lighting situation, I feel like light is so important for a garden. Well, I don't feel like that. I know it is. So that's why I'm hesitant on this spot. The next possibility is along the fence here. And I feel like this one is a top contender. I like this. There's also this big mound right here for some reason. I don't know why. So that kind of throws me off that it's like raised and then we have the beds here. But I do like this spot. It would get good sun all day. And it's right next to the shed. Like, you are literally on the corner of the shed. So I kind of like the idea of the garden all being like next to each other. So that's this option, which I think is winning so far. Now, this was my first thought that I had when I was building out the garden idea. I wanted to have all four of them kind of in line with each other, but then I didn't like that this one was right behind this one, or right in front of this one. So I staggered them a little bit. I don't like it now. I feel like I like the look of them all being in line with each other. And also to note, I have a trellis that is going to go from one to the other. So a thought that I just had is, what if I line them up along this fence line? But then it's like the same concept as that one. And I feel like that one is going to be more out of the way, because what if eventually we want to put up like a little play set for Nora? So yeah, those are all of my thoughts. So obviously we landed on this option, as you can see here. I love this option a lot because we're right up against the fence here, and I was actually scrolling on Facebook Marketplace and I saw some really cool on the fence garden beds that people were like hanging, and I just think that I can make this whole corner a huge moment. And like, I didn't want this garden to be my entire yard because I don't have all of the space in the world, and I have dogs, and I have a daughter who might eventually want a play set. So I wanted to still have room for other life in my yard. So this feels like a really great compromise, and I love the way that it just like fills this space. It's so beautiful. The next part in all of this was filling them, which was a little bit difficult for me to figure out. And I want to say this is a huge contrast from how I filled my garden beds in Missouri, because I learned a ton in that process, and that is just one of the things that I love about gardening. One of the things that I'm thankful for to have moved here for was to have the opportunity to make a new garden and kind of start over. And eventually, if and when we make it back to that house in Missouri, we can kind of revamp all of that with all of this new information that we've learned from this. I did things a little bit backwards. I installed the garden beds where I wanted them to go, and then I put in the cardboard, which, by the way, all of the cardboard and paper that you saw me putting in is from our move that we had in September. So I have been hoarding cardboard and paper, moving paper, since we moved, and my husband has been absolutely hating it. But it paid off because I was able to fill in a good portion of the beds. We had firewood delivered. I got it on Marketplace, and I bought a rick and a half because firewood is measured by the rick, measured and sold by the rick. I don't know who Rick is, but he is iconic. This is a huge contrast to my last garden, because in my last garden I used topsoil on the bottom, and then the top foot of the soil was bagged garden soil, which was peat based, because that really is largely what is available and the cheapest. But this year I did decide to splurge a little bit, and I'm using the mushroom compost from Just Natural, and the bags are very small. But like, honestly, when I broke down the pricing, it was about the same as what I spent like the first time, all of this. And it's way higher quality materials, I hope, fingers crossed. Like, you really don't know until you're like actually in it, but it feels nice. We are now filling the garden beds, and I decided to go with mushroom compost. I needed a lot of bags of this because it's 0.75 cubic feet. We bought a lot of bags, and we're now going to fill the beds as best we can. I am going to tell you this hot tip. Please do not put anything in your garden beds until you have everything assembled. I sort of assembled things in pieces because I'm working out of the home, and I was not able to just like dedicate a full weekend to doing this. So it was kind of disjointed over a couple of weeks. But again, I want to show you that it is possible. It just takes a little bit more time. So I assembled the beds, and then I put them in place, and then I started putting stuff in them, and I kind of forgot that the trellis actually hooks onto the sides of the beds, which is a really, really cool thing about these trellises, because I had before a cattle panel trellis at my old place, and I had to install T-posts, and to be honest, I always thought it was kind of ugly, but that's just how you have to do it to hold the cattle panel in place. And with these, they install into the side of the garden beds. I'm definitely going to be very picky about what I put in here, and I am kind of glad that I only have 4 beds because I can really consolidate things, because again, I don't have a lot of time to dedicate out here to doing this kind of stuff, but I still wanted to do it. I am really looking forward to building more stuff to put on the back wall and a compost bin, because I don't currently have a compost bin. So anyways, friends, that is the full story on building these garden beds, filling them, and a couple of tips and tricks along the way. I'm really looking forward forward to sharing my gardening journey with you guys on this channel and my vlog channel, so you can follow me over there. It's called